It has been a crazy few months or so. First, Rich Paul told me that Wade, LeBron, and Bosh weren't the big three because Bosh took a back seat. And then, only 1 out of 12 ESPN experts predicted a Timberwolves victory. Crazy, right? And that fearless soul who said the Minnesota Timberwolves would take the series in 6 games, that was Tim Bontemps. In a move that probably disappointed a few folks at ESPN, the Wolves didn't even need 6 games to send the Lakers on an early trip to Cancun. They only needed 5. But it's all about perspective. I can't say that I'm not jealous because I could definitely use some beach time myself. And while we're at it, props to TNT for the legendary Gone Fishing segment. It never fails to bring a smile to my face. As a kid, sometimes I feel like I looked forward to that segment more than the actual playoffs themselves. Like, this is awesome. Where else are you going to see Kendrick Lamar, Ice Cube, Leo DiCaprio, and Andrew Garfield all in one place? They even got my guy Ken Jeong on there. Community, The Hangover, the guy is a living legend. But back to what we were saying. Why did so many people think that a Lakers squad that wasn't deep and had no real center was going to be able to handle that massive Minnesota front court? It's almost like everyone forgot how deep, big, and dangerous that the Timberwolves actually are. And size can matter a whole lot in the playoffs. That's not something that you're supposed to forget. Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker would start for a lot of teams in the NBA, with some of these being playoff teams. In fact, you could make a case that all of these guys would start for the Los Angeles Lakers. Yet, all of these guys have been available to come off of the bench for Minnesota in the playoffs. That's real depth. And we just witnessed how crucial having real depth is, especially in that first round series for the Lakers. Game 4 is a great example of what I'm talking about, as JJ Redick found himself making NBA history for the wrong reason. In Game 4, JJ Redick would do something that we have never seen before in the play-by-play era, by playing all 5 players for all 24 minutes in the second half of the playoffs. For the second half of that game, he rolled out a lineup of Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, a visibly fatigued Luka Doncic who isn't exactly known for elite conditioning and was battling a stomach bug, and a 40-year-old LeBron James. LeBron James had 27 points in the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth, he didn't score at all. He was exhausted, and this was all for nothing. The Lakers lost this game 116 to 113. If you do something this insane, at the very least you have to win the game. They didn't. Averaging 6.2 transition points a game on 73.3% from the field, LeBron James was still occasionally getting out in transition and punishing the defense. But overall, the Timberwolves defense was so suffocating that when they did limit those transition opportunities, the Lakers offense would look like they had no idea how to play together. The Lakers were dribbling the air out of the basketball. I couldn't tell if I was watching a park takeover with the professor or a team trying to get out of the first round of the NBA playoffs to win a championship. It was like the Lakers were playing right into the Timberwolves trap. The Timberwolves understandably just wanted to tire a 40-year-old LeBron James out. Thanks to gutsy coaching and the Lakers roster that was running on fumes, by the end of Game 4, what they got was a LeBron James who was exhausted. Game 5, the Lakers' nightmare would continue. Rudy Gobert was out there dominating like prime Wilt Chamberlain, but believe it or not, it actually got worse than that. With just under 9 minutes left, LeBron James hit the deck in obvious pain, immediately grabbing his knee. He briefly left the game, got checked out, and somehow managed to fight his way back onto the court just moments later. Bron battled it out until the very last whistle, but it wasn't enough. The Lakers took the L, and just like that, their season was over. Later, it would come out that when Bron went down, that he suffered an MCL sprain, an injury that entails a 3 to 5 week recovery timeline. Between LeBron's injury and the Lakers being outmatched, Lakers fans got all of the closure that they needed. This team was never going to win this series, and that's okay, because the Lakers left this season with something a lot better than a simple series victory. Anytime you leave the season with Luka Doncic on your roster, that's a victory in itself. Somewhere Nico Harrison is like, nope, no, it's not. It's not. But it is. The Lakers acquiring Luka has set the stage for what is shaping up to be a wild offseason for the Lakers, because right now, it's anybody's guess which direction that this team is headed in. Once again, we've seen Bron hint at hanging up his sneakers, while a fresh report from The Athletic says that those closest to Bron haven't ruled out him finishing his career elsewhere. There's more. Reports are saying that he's not about to take any kind of pay cut to keep wearing the purple and gold. So if Bron holds firm on his salary and opts into his $52 million player option, that could knock the Lakers right out of using the full mid-level exception worth about $14 million and force them to settle for the taxpayer mid-level exception instead, which is closer to about $5.7 million. Translation: the Lakers would have less cash to lure quality free agents and make trades happen. According to Spotrac, when we're strictly talking NBA contracts, Bron has earned over $528 million. But even with his massive earning, he's no stranger to leaving money on the table if it's meant providing a favorable basketball situation. For reference, according to CBS, he took less than the max to join the Heat in 2010. You guys remember that Heat team? They had Wade, Bosh, and some strong reserves. Is that exact team possible if Bron doesn't take a pay cut? I'll let you guys answer that one. If the right players are available and Bron and the Lakers are on good terms, I would think that Bron takes a pay cut. Just last season, Bron was open to taking another sizable pay cut so that the Lakers could bring in some help. Think Klay Thompson, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, or Jonas Valanciunas. Man, Big Val would have helped this team out so much. Anyways, he took a smaller pay cut to help the Lakers manage the cap. Nothing too crazy. Pelinka has recently said that LeBron's going to have high expectations for the roster, and that the Lakers are going to do everything that they can to meet those expectations. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Bron should take a pay cut, but if he doesn't, then the Lakers might have to shuffle this roster in a big way to keep up with his championship demands. The last time that the Lakers made a drastic move to please LeBron, they wound up with Russell Westbrook, which was a train wreck for everybody involved. I am so afraid for Austin Reeves right now. This team hasn't figured that situation out yet, which be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you guys don't miss us breaking down that. Reeves being a casualty in this situation would definitely be the most LeBron-era thing that could happen. In my opinion, Bron teasing retirement or reports coming out that he'd be open to finishing his career elsewhere aren't entirely empty. They're threats. Bron is using what's left of his leverage to make sure that the Lakers understand what's at stake, which is a lot. If the Lakers somehow manage to lose Bron, sure, his contract is no longer on the books, but with the way that the cap works and with the players likely to be available, the Lakers wouldn't be able to land anybody that's nearly as impactful as him. So even with Bron completely off of the books, in an unlikely scenario, the most that the Lakers would probably be staring down is around $15 million in cap space. Would having that be worth not having LeBron James at all? To be fair, for some Lakers fans it would be, but Bron has some power here and he knows it. This power struggle between LeBron James and the Lakers front office has been going on so long that it's practically a law of nature. Like water being wet or grass being green, the Lakers and LeBron James have their power struggle. It just is what it is at this point. If you're a fan of the Lakers and you're tired of this power struggle, then I'm not mad at you. I completely understand where you're coming from. Now, the King himself recently appeared on the Mind the Game podcast alongside the legendary Steve Nash, one of my all-time favorites, and yes, a man who was absolutely scapegoated in Brooklyn. But LeBron used this platform to fire back at all the critics, especially those who had been coming for him and Luka. And let me quote him directly. How did me and Luka lose? Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor. Clearly LeBron was trying to talk about how imbalanced that the roster was, but something like this just doesn't read well. In the eyes of his critics, he just pulled a Kevin Durant and said, Bron couldn't win with those cats. And even with him talking about how imbalanced that the roster was, who is that putting the pressure on? Pelinka. It all goes back to that power struggle that we were just talking about. Bron wants things done on Bron's timeline, but the second that the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic, the Luka timeline became the priority. That Lakers team with Anthony Davis could have won a championship this year, but they passed on that opportunity. Why? Because they're the Los Angeles Lakers, and they just got Luka Doncic. He doesn't give you a chance for one championship, he gives you a chance for a lot of them. Pelinka has a billion reasons to want to upgrade this roster as much as possible, as long as the major upgrades line up with Luka's timeline. And we saw them attempt to do this with that trade for Mark Williams that ultimately got rescinded. The rescinding of this trade was another sign that the Lakers were looking beyond this season, although reportedly even this trade just happening rubbed the James camp the wrong way. A report said that it wasn't lost on James camp that Pelinka prioritized Doncic's involvement upon his arrival and immediately engaged in the Williams trade that he had asked for, when James had for years wanted the team to trade its picks to improve its roster. And this was a real report. Who knows how true that it was though, because I doubt that Luka would be making power plays upon his arrival. This man was still dealing with the heartbreak of leaving Dallas. Would he have liked the better center than Jackson Hayes? Sure, but I'm sure that any Luka involvement with this trade is being overstated. Now, I don't doubt that something like this could have rubbed the James camp the wrong way. I could definitely see that. Trouble in paradise? ? LeBron doesn't hate Luka at all, far from it. He loves him. But it's not far-fetched to think that he hates the way that everything went down this season. People are saying that he didn't even know that the Luka Doncic trade was going to go down. Supposedly, the man was just as surprised as everybody else that it happened. Since Luka arrived in Los Angeles, LeBron has been working hard to empower him. But when it comes to convincing Luka to stay in Los Angeles, he says this: "No, that ain't my job. I don't think I know that Luka knows how I feel about him. That's not for me. I hope that he stays long term, but ultimately he's got to make a decision for him. I'm not going to be around too much longer." So far, everything has pointed to Luka being locked in on Los Angeles, but I still think that it would be in the Lakers' best interest to end things on good terms with LeBron James if they can, whenever they end. Luka just got backstabbed by a franchise that he had given everything for, and the wounds are still fresh. If he sees things get super ugly with LeBron James after how long that he's been there, then what kind of message would that be sending to Luka? The Lakers have taken great care of LeBron James and vice versa. LeBron helped the Lakers to win another championship. Meanwhile, the Lakers somehow managed to get his son on the freaking team. Regardless of how good or bad that anyone thinks that Bronny is, pulling something like that off is impressive. Stuff like that doesn't go unnoticed around the league. How you treat your stars and how you run your team matters. August 2nd, Luka becomes extension eligible. He'll be eligible to sign a $229 million extension. If he refuses to extend, then he can become a free agent in the summer of 2026 if he turns down his player option. Paul Pierce thinks that it's time to completely move on from LeBron James and embrace the Luka era. And in the comments below, I want to know if you guys think that he's right. Lakers fans, if you thought that the season was filled with action, get ready because it's about to be a long off season. Anyways, there's some more going on in the basketball world that I have to be covering. So clicking one of the videos on the screen right now is a great way to support this channel. I'm Get Like Coop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.